Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and today I thought I would do a video for the top 5 Wednesday this month. So this week, I guess in honor of the SFF Awards, the top 5 Wednesday theme is your favorite science fiction and fantasy books. So today I will be showing you my top 5 favorite science fiction fantasy. I read a lot more fantasy than I do science fiction, so I really only have one science fiction book to show you. So I'll start off with that one, and that is Dune by Frank Herbert. I read this when I was probably around 20 years old, 21 maybe, and I really enjoyed it. My dad recommended it to me. He loves the Dune series, and when him and my mom were young and first together, he bet my mom that she couldn't read the book, so she forced herself to finish it so she would win the $5, and she absolutely hated it. But I actually really enjoyed it when I was reading it. My dad was a little bit surprised because it is such a politically heavy science fiction book, but I don't know, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really good, so I'd recommend this one if you're looking for a good science fiction book to pick up. The next one I have here is Deathless by Catherine M. Valenti. This is kind of, I guess, retelling of a Russian fairy tale of Koichi the Deathless. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. So yeah, if you like fairy tale retellings, and if you're interested in Russian fairy tales and Russian literature, I'd recommend this one. I really enjoyed it. The last three that I have to show you are part of series. So the first one is Game of Thrones by George R.R. Martin, part of the Song of Ice and Fire series. This is the first book, which I'm sure most of you know. I really liked the first 3 books in the series. Books 4 and 5 I didn't really enjoy that much. I will read book 6 when it eventually comes out, just to see if I can get back into it and if it gets any better as a series. But I'd really recommend at least the first 3 books. The last 2 books really slow down quite a bit in terms of what actually happens in the story, and not a lot happens for reading like 2,000 to 3,000 pages. But yeah, the first book I absolutely adored. The next one is the first book in the Stormlight Archive series by Brandon Sanderson, and that is The Way of Kings. This is a really kind of epic fantasy. I don't even know really how to explain it. There's just these different kingdoms, I guess, that are fighting over these shards that give like they give you an armor and a blade, and they're like extremely powerful, and it's very politically charged. Yeah, I don't know, I'd really recommend this one. And then the last series is the Mistborn trilogy, again by Brandon Sanderson. I picked this up because a bunch of people, like all at the same time on BookTube, started reading the series. So I picked it up to read, and I absolutely adored it. I would say I hadn't been reading a lot of fantasy before I picked up this series, and it kind of really got me back into reading fantasy. So yeah, I'd really recommend this one as well. Anyways, so those are my top 5 science fiction and fantasy books, and let me know down in the comments below what your favorite science fiction and fantasy books are, and if you have any thoughts on these 5 that I've shown you. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!